different turn of our corporate existence, where our vision and aspiration goes and extends beyond the reach of the Niger Delta Basin. And it is important that in doing that, we keep that future in view and adjust every aspect of our setup that will enable us to get to that destination. And the rebranding effort is first and foremost our deliberate and conscious effort to build a strong enough brand capital that is reflective of the very bold, aggressive and ambitious future that we're embracing. We want to operate, still taking our route from the Niger Delta, but we want to operate across geographical boundaries. We want to operate across multiple jurisdictions. We have honed and proven the concept in the place where we started from. We believe it's time to step up to the global arena.
In coming up with the new name, we very much took that past into account and ensured that it reflected not just our heritage, but also our communities where we operate.
And this is a major consideration behind the rebranding of the name. In rebranding the name, we are still embracing everything that has to do with the identity of the Pearl brand, but want to do it without being held back from being able to replicate the same thing in other jurisdictions.
Aradel, energized for a brighter future.
Energized for a brighter future is a testament to our rich history, heritage, and aspirations. Our decision to rebrand is driven by the need to fix misconceptions and increase awareness of our company.
Our vision is very clear. We will continue to develop energy solutions that will benefit this country primarily. In doing so, we will prioritize on energy sources that offer cheaper value and cheaper costs.
We are focused on the transition from just oil and gas producing company to a company that is also into renewables. There's solar, there's wind, there's biofuels, there are all kinds of things. So currently we're a big player, but we intend to be an even bigger player in the energy space.
However, we must continue to do that in a way that ensures that shareholder value is not destroyed. And that's what we've been doing, making sure that there is an appropriate pricing of the products that are directly within our control. There are some that the product prices are just not within our control. Crude oil price is not determined by one single player, it's determined by global forces. But for those that we have gone into that have direct impact into the society, we believe they are priced in such a way that it is affordable without us destroying the chances and the prospect of returning value to our shareholders.
For the future, the company has to work and work and work to retain that pole position. And what will it do? It will use the best of Nigerian resources, it will use Nigerian capital, and it would harmonize itself with the environment in which it works. And I think with all those things, the future is very, very assured.
Branding for any company is critical. For example, I mean, all the world famous brands, like if you say Mercedes, you know what it means. If you say Shell, you know what it means, and all that. So when you brand, the idea is to give a message.
The message is energized for a brighter future. And I think that's really what we want everybody, both locally and globally, to be aware that NDP is focusing, we're energized for a brighter future. I think the rebrand comes as a natural thing. We pride ourselves in the fantastic history we have as a company. A lot of pioneering has been done by NDP that's largely unknown. In actual fact, people confuse NDP for a government entity, which is not surprising because we carry the name Niger Delta, and everybody, once you hear Niger Delta, your mind goes to the government.
The name emanated from the geographical basin where our flagship asset came from, and we've worked very well on that. We are at a different turn of our corporate existence, where our vision and aspiration goes and extends beyond the reach of the Niger Delta basin. And it is important that in doing that, we keep that future in view and adjust every aspect of our setup that will enable us to get to that destination. And the rebranding effort is first and foremost our deliberate and conscious effort to build a strong enough brand capital that is reflective of the very bold, aggressive and ambitious future that we're embracing. We want to operate still taking our route from the Niger Delta, but we want to operate across geographical boundaries. We want to operate across multiple jurisdictions. We have honed and proven the concept in the place where we started from. We believe it's time to step up to the global arena.
In coming up with the new name, we very much took that past into account and ensured that it reflected not just our heritage, but also our communities where we operate.
And this is a major consideration behind the rebranding of the name. In rebranding the name, we are still embracing everything that has to do with the identity of the Pearl brand, but we want to do it without being held back from being able to replicate the same thing in other jurisdictions.
Aradel, energized for a brighter future.
Welcome to NGX Invest, our e-offering platform. In this video, we'll guide you through the simple steps to subscribe to public offers and rights issue seamlessly. To begin, on your browser, enter invest.ngxgroup.com. Click the sign up button and fill in your details. First and last name, phone number, email address, and create your unique password. Tick the box to accept the privacy policy and terms of service. Then click Get Started. You'll receive a one-time password OTP via email. Use this OTP to verify your email address on the platform. Next, enter your BVN and date of birth. An OTP will be sent to your phone number to verify your details. Once verified, you can proceed. Fill in your CHN or CSCS account number. If you are a new investor or can't remember your numbers, simply click Skip This to continue. Complete your profile and your account setup is finished. To subscribe to a public offer, browse the available offers on your dashboard and click on View Offer Details on your preferred offer to get more details on the offer. Select your preferred broker. Input the number of shares you'd like to subscribe to. Click on I have read and accepted the shelf prospectus, price and supplement, and term sheet. Then click Buy Now to proceed. Choose your preferred payment option and follow the on-screen instructions to complete your transaction. Once payment is completed, look out for
Temi.
Good afternoon, my colleagues. It is my pleasure to welcome the Aradel team to the foremost trading floor in Africa, the NGX. Before we do the introduction, I will invite the CEO so that we can do the trading. I was told that there's a lot of demand, so that I can give you enough time while we are talking here so that we can list the shares. Let me invite the stockbrokers to this listing. Cardinal Stone. Where are they, please? Is this a Lile that is doing that on Garuba?
Peter.
Okay, Peter, please go ahead so that we can have enough time for the trading. Go ahead, please.
Okay, CEO of the Nigerian Exchange, Mr. Jude Chiemeka, the group CEO, Mr. Temi Popola, the doyen of the day, and my fellow city gentlemen. Cardinal Stone Securities is pleased to be here today to seek the exchange's approval to list the entire 4.34 billion ordinary shares of Aradel Holdings Plc on the main board of the Nigerian Exchange. Aradel Holdings, incorporated in 1992 as Midas Drilling Fund, metamorphosed into Niger Delta Exploration Company, and then into Aradel in May 2023. Is a fully integrated.
Thank you very much for this history. Just go ahead and list this share so that people can trade.
Okay, so CEO, sir, I confirm that the shares of Aradel have been duly registered with the SEC and that there are no objections to their listing. I also confirm that shares of Aradel PLC have been credited to CSC's account. Our prayer this afternoon is that the entire shares be admitted to the daily official list of the Nigerian Exchange at 702.69. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your request is hereby granted.
So while we are doing the trading, I think we can do some introductions and at least say a word or two before I invite the Aradel team to close the market for us. My name is stockbroker Umaru Kwairanga, the group chairman of NGX. With me on my team, we have the group CEO, Mr. Temi Popola, which is a non-face. On the left, we have the CEO of the NGX Limited, Mr. Jude Chiemeka. We have the CEO of NGS Regulation, Femi Shobanjo, which is a non-face too. I hope you are doing the trading, not just to listen to me. Prof. We have one of our directors as wearing two caps as not only the stockbrokers for this listing, but one of the directors of NGS Group, Mr. Garuba Mohammed. I believe from the NGX, I didn't see Tony. I saw Tony. Okay, we have Tony there and the rest. Okay, well, why is Dr. Farouk? Dr. Farouk, because today is even his birthday. So we are combining the listing and even the birthday of one of our directors of the NGX Limited, Dr. Farouk Umar. Then we have the MD of CSCS that made it today for us to have this listing from NASD on Friday to NGX today, courtesy of CSCS, Mr. Haruna Jallo Waziri. So let me invite the chairman of Aradel, instruct the MD of Aradel to do the introduction of the team. Because I believe if I can stand here and do the introduction for our own team, for my own chairman of Aradel that has become a family member today, that has been part and parcel of this NGX. He has been an executive director of CSL Stockbrokers. We know where we are coming from with CSL Stockbrokers. Even before the coming of FCMB, there is a CSL Stockbrokers, but I believe Bolaji Balogun is going to say a lot about that. I want to invite the chairman so that he can even introduce the other transaction parties, the advisors to this, none only other than Chapel Hill, Stanbic IBTC. Let me invite the chairman of Aradel, please, so that he can instruct the MD after making his own introduction. Mr. Chairman, sir.
Good day, all. We're very proud to be here as a fully listed company on the exchange, and we intend to make the exchange as proud of us as we are proud to join the listing. My name is Ladi Jadesimi, and I'll call on the MD to introduce the other directors.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Adegbite Falade. I'm the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer for Aradel Holdings. I'm privileged to have joining us here today members of the board, and in no particular order, I'd like to start with Ms. Simon Hart. Ms. Simon Hart is the Independent Non-Executive Director for Aradel Holdings, and she's standing next left to me. Mr. Austin Olorunshola, Non-Executive Director, former DPR Director and an industry reference point. Thank you. Mr. Adegbenga Adetoro, Nominee Director for Africa Capital Alliance, the largest shareholder in Aradel. Thank you. Sitting next to him, or standing next to him, is Mr. Thierry Georgia. Thierry, do you want to wave your hand? Thierry is the Nominee Director for Petrolin. Petrolin is the second largest shareholder in Aradel. I also have Chief Ede Osanyade, Non-Executive Director of Aradel, Chairman of the Board Audit and Finance Committee. Absent amongst the directors today physically, but joining us virtually is Reverend Afolabi Oladele, the second Nominee Director for Africa Capital Alliance, and is the Chairman of the Governance, Remuneration and Nominations Committee. I also have with me Mr. Adegbola Adeshino, the CFO for Aradel Holdings PLC, doing a fantastic job. And I also have with me our institutional memory box, Ms. Titi Omishori, the Group General Counsel and Company Secretary. I also have with me Dr. Lai Fatono, the pioneer CEO, the founder, and the engine for a long, long while of Aradel Holdiings PLC. We have quite a number of shareholders, partners. Please forgive me if I'm not able to mention everybody that are here, but we do recognize you. We've been supported in this journey by a sterling team of advisors. On the transaction advisor side, we have Chapel Hill, Denham, and Stanbic IBTC Capital. Templars Law had been our legal advisor. Cardinal Stone had been our stockbroker. And we do have a whole other. So I'm going to hand over the microphone to Bibi to please do the courtesy of the introduction of the advisors and the other parties. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MD. Chairman of Aradel, members of the board, Dr. Lai Fatono, with whom my own Aradel journey began. Really, really pleased to see you here today, and you should be extremely proud of this baby of yours. We've been very, very fortunate in difficult conditions to have the opportunity to do this sort of work. And each and every one of us on the issuance party are most grateful to Aradel and its board for entrusting us with this most important mandate. On the Stanbic IBTC Capital side, my colleague, Mr. Dele Shotubo, representing Templars Law on the podium, the managing partner of Templars Law, Mr. Ogogo Akpata. Mohammed Garuba has been introduced earlier, representing Cardinal Stone Securities, broker to the listing. My name is Bolaji Balogun. I work for Chapel Hill, Denham. But I think it's really important to acknowledge very quickly the important role the SEC, NASD, CSCS have all played in this listing, for which we're grateful to them. And it's your day. Make us proud. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bibi. So formally, it is my honor to welcome the Aradel team, led by no any other person than the chairman of Aradel, the MD, and even the pioneer MD. For us, listing of Aradel is one of our strategic plan at the NGX, so that NGX should mirror not only part of the Nigerian economy, but the market capitalization of NGX should even surpass the Nigerian GDP. We have seen in other jurisdictions, even of recent, when you look at Johannesburg Stock Exchange, when you look at the market capitalization of Johannesburg Stock Exchange, it has surpassed the GDP. I believe for us, by coming of Aradel on board, is part of our own strategic plan to make sure that we mirror the Nigerian economy's GDP so that we can even surpass that. By listing of Aradel today is something that we are proud of as Nigerians. We have seen where Aradel is coming from, where Aradel is today. And I want to assure the board of Aradel that you are at the right place. This is the right place for you to give all investing public an opportunity to be part and parcel of the success story of Aradel. You have demonstrated that at NASD. It's not going to be different in NGX in terms of either the corporate governance and other requirements. But the only thing is that you are uplifting to a more liquid market. That's why today you are the NGX. So it's not only you that you are proud to be listed today, even us at the NGX, we are proud to have you to be listed on the NGX. And we believe by the time we have the Aradels of this world, one of the fastest growing, not only in the oil sector, but fastest growing companies in Nigeria, I believe this is just the beginning. You have demonstrated enough when you look at the history of Aradel, and it's not going to be anything different except for you to go further from where you are coming from. I believe for us at the NGS, when we have companies like Aradel, soon we have companies like Dangote Refinery here, soon we have the NNPC of this world to come here, then we can be able to demonstrate that these professionals you are seeing, these city gentlemen, they are well trained. We have the capacity that we can be able to list much more companies and Aradel. So I'm using this opportunity to tell the investing public that today is just the beginning. Look for your stockbrokers, look for other professionals that can advise you on how to buy shares of Aradel. You will never regret that. The shareholders of Aradel have known what they have benefited before. But today's journey is going to be much different. You can see from the faces, not only of the people on the top, but even at the down, that everybody is happy. Even the chairman of Aradel have demonstrated that he summarizes his own speech so that he can be able to at least show his appreciation to the city gentlemen that are here and the management of NGX for a job well done, that today Aradel is part of the family of NGX. Let me invite the group CEO of NGX so that he can make his own speech, then invite the CEO of NGX before I invite the chairman and group CEO of Aradel to close our market. Once more, thank you very much for listening. I believe today is a new day. If after this transaction, we can see the huge demand that people have on Aradel. People can still buy Aradel not only today, but continuously. Aradel, I assure you, the liquidity that is here, the professionals that are here, you only see positive things. MD, you have already achieved your KPI for this year, for bringing this market to at least be listed here. And I believe since the chairman is here and the rest, so you have already achieved that one, you can go on leave. By the time you come back, then you can be able to see something different. Let me invite the group CEO, Temi Popola, so that I can be able to make his own speech. Temi, please.
Thank you, Chairman. It's usually very difficult to speak after my chairman because he said everything that there is to be said, and his voice is a lot louder and more powerful than mine, but I will try. I see that time is fast spent, but as I reflected on today, it crossed my mind that, frankly, anybody who's been in this market easily for maybe the last 15 years or so, somehow you would have had this Aradel, formerly called Niger Delta, on your radar somewhere. I look back nearly 15 years ago. I was at CSL at the time, and I was in Mr. Fatono's office at the time, trying to ask him to find a way to list the company, or at least to do something in the market. I left that company, I joined RenCap, and I remember going to ACA also at the time to say, this is your stake in this company. Let's find a way to monetize. I joined the exchange, and last year we were with the management in New York with Mr. President's delegation, just trying to showcase the company and talk about the our country. But I think overall, it's just a day of joy. And I really want to thank Aradel, thank the board, thank some of the founding fathers that are here, and the entire community. It's a day of joy for our market. We're always looking for good, quality, well-run companies. And I think that's what we are celebrating here today. So without further ado, just want to really say a big congratulations to everybody who's brought this day to reality, and to just assure the market of NGX's continued commitment to stronger markets, liquid markets, and we want many more of this. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Group CEO. CEO, please, Jude.
Thank you, Chairman. Let me start by welcoming Aradel Holdiings Plc to the NGX. I think the NGX itself is a platform that helps to democratize wealth, and it has been demonstrated across different companies that are listed. We're truly delighted that you've taken that bold step. It's a long journey, but we're happy that it's come to fruition today, and we're truly happy to be witnessing it. If you think about what price did Aradel list, it's down up 10%. And total volume that I've traded so far is about 15.6 million shares. So we believe that this is just the beginning. The NGX is home to 322 securities. So we are a multi-asset exchange, not just equities, but also bonds, ETFs, the second largest ETF market in Africa. So we encourage other companies to emulate Aradel. We are known as an exchange that creates wealth, and we believe that institutional investors, international and domestic, as well as all the many retail investors that patronize our market, now have something to trade to diversify their portfolios. Welcome to the NGX.
Thank you very much, CEO. You heard from, before I invite Shop and Joe to say a word or two, even as at now, this stock has gained 10%. This stock is bringing over 3 trillion to this market. And I believe, like the way the Group CEO have mentioned, this is an opportunity for all Nigerians to key in so that they can be part and parcel of this success story. For the Aradel team, you have come to the right place where we have a pool of funds that you can be able to tap with, so that at least you can be able to raise so much funds in this. The liquidity of this market is much more from where you are coming from. And I believe for us in this market, we used to complement each other. And I believe it's just a step forward that you have left NASD, you are now at the NGS. And I believe it's going to be much, much better than where you are coming from. So once more, you are welcome to the NGS. And I want to assure you that you are at the right place. For us, we work as a team, we work as a family to make sure that all the requirements of Aradel, we have the capacity, we have the resources to make sure we are meet with your own demand. Let me invite, since we have 3 minutes for Jude to say a word or two, before I invite the chairman and the MD of Aradel, please close the market.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think just to, a lot has already been said. I don't recall seeing the podium and the trading floor this full and this buzzing in such a long time. I think this shows the kind of support that everyone is giving to this company. I think on the regulation side, when we received the application from Aradel, I think we saw it was very high quality, a very well-run company with solid corporate governance. These are the types of companies that we like to see listed. These are the types of companies that we like to regulate. These are the types of companies that investors would like to, invest in. And so it was pretty much straightforward for us. We also had a solid team of advisors. It was a very seamless exercise. So I want to just congratulate you on this major milestone. And I want to assure you that on the regulation side, we run a style of substantive engagement. So we're here to continue to engage with you if you have any issues towards post-listing compliance and obligations. And of course, in due course, we will do the onboarding properly for all the directors. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much, our CEO of NGS Regulation. I believe since we have 2 minutes, maybe I can invite the chairman again to say a word or two. After closing, the MD should be the one to say a lot here before I go down to my doyen to dictate there. So, Chairman, if you have anything to add, you have 1 minute. so that for the investing public, both locally and internationally, they want to hear the success story and why they should invest in Aradel.
Well, once again, it's been a long journey for us, but in many ways, today is the beginning of a new journey. And the founding fathers actually had this objective in mind when they founded the company all those decades ago, to afford Nigerians the opportunity to be part of what is now the energy industry in Nigeria. And I can assure the investing public that our illustrious past will be surpassed by an even more, much more bright future.
Thank you very much, Chairman. You know, the good side of the Chairman, he did his one in summary, while me, I expand my own. I think we have 1 minute, so that actually we should prepare for that. I believe with the gain that we have gotten today is a demonstration that Aradel has gotten 10%. Like we have said, please, press people, our brokers that are here, and the rest, let the Nigerians look for this type of opportunity. They have gotten that. You have what the chairmans have said. This has been a dream come true. Part of their own objective is to give an opportunity for investing public to invest in Aradel. Today, Aradel is being listed. Investors should go through their advisors, their stockbrokers, so that they can key in time before we got the interim dividend and make sure that at the end of the day we got a bigger dividend. So count down. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you and congratulations. Before I go to the MD, Doyen, I'll soon be with you. But let me remind the ladies that are here. I have noticed when they are doing the introduction, when they mention a lady, I will see the lady just like, we have city gentlemen here. There we are all city gentlemen. And I believe even from the Aradel, you can see the team that they are coming with is a mix of all city gentlemen. In terms of issue of corporate governance, I believe we are top in this country. We want to make sure that issue of corporate governance, issue of in terms of returns, the requirement of NGX, Aradel are up to the task. On this note, let me invite the MD of Aradel so that he can say what the people want to listen, want to hear about Aradel. MD, please. You have to bring the CFO.
I wanted to call a friend. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Really, really exciting opportunity for us to be here today. We are not versed on matters relating to the stock exchange floor. So I will stick to what we know how to do. Our forte is in being able to create value from natural resources. Our forte is in being able to run a business very sustainably, whilst local to global standards. Our forte is being able to be efficient and create a very strong, healthy cash flow. Our forte is in being able to ensure that shareholders get due reward for their investments. Our forte is taking something that is small and building it to be very large scale that we all could be proud of. And so on today's occasion, all these things that I've said are reflective in our past, but I'm making a fresh commitment on behalf of the company that the future would be more of the same, but in greater scale and dimension. We have carefully, over the decades, built a very well-hedged, integrated energy business with footprints across the different parts of the industry sectors. We're going to continue to see more of that. We're going to see scale up in existing footprints. We're going to see additions of new footprints in the value chain. But more importantly, you're going to see a company that every Nigerian will be proud of. We're going to see a company that is going to replicate what we have now, not just in the shores of the Niger Delta, but in other jurisdictions as well. So whatever you're investing in the company today, please take it as a down payment that is going to come with significant returns that you all be very proud of. And I'd like to thank the NASD for the opportunity you've given to us in the past 11 years. You gave us a platform. That platform, you allowed us to showcase what is possible. And even in the exit processes to port over to the NGX, you've been extremely magnanimous. We just want to say thank you. You've been very supportive. NGX would like to say thank you for welcoming us with open arms. And we make a pledge to you that we will continue to be a reference point of pride for inviting others to take this same journey. And together we will create the wealth, we'll create the value that we're looking for as a country. Chairman, I hear the challenge that we should allow the market cap of the NGX to meet up to and exceed that one of Nigeria. In Aradel, you have a partner in getting to that. Our beauty is not just in terms of where we are today. It's a lot more in terms of what is to come. And I can assure that our opportunity funnel is filled with loads of upsides. So please, if you have not bought, go ahead and buy. If you have bought, buy more. Because the future is very exciting. Thank you very much.
So you heard from the horse's mouth. I believe we will take the MD's words. It's an opportunity that's been given to the investing public, both locally and internationally. And for us at the NGS, we want to key in to Mr. President, $1 trillion economy. We have the capacity. We have demonstrated that with the banking recapitalization that's already been done and is in the pipeline. A lot of trillions have been raised in this market. There is no noise, nothing. It's a demonstration of the type of leadership we have, not only at SEC, not only at the NGX, but the Nigeria in general. We now have a better platform at the NDS. The Aradel can use that opportunity to raise more funds so that we can get more dividends. We are going to the 20th floor so that we can allow both our brokers, the investing public, to ask all the questions they want to ask from the Aradel team with their advisors and the NGX team. Before closing, let me invite the MD of CSCS to say a word or two for what he has demonstrated from Friday today to bring this listing to fruition. MD CSCS, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Like Temi said, it's difficult to speak after you. Why is Tony Beziako? Tony, 10 years ago, I brought you to the exchange. One of the first target I gave you was that we must list Niger Delta. You and Morayo Adekule. I left the exchange to run CSCS, and one of the reasons why I actually went to CSCS was I was banging my head, like I said some time ago, to try and get the post-trade work. When I joined the CSCS, every broker was on top of our floor, 13th floor, 14th floor, if you remember. Today, if I leave the CSCS, honestly speaking, I'm very proud with the work that my people have done, the work we've done at the exchange, and what we've seen over the weekend. Mr. Balogu, I know we've had very difficult discussions over the last 4 or 5 days, hours and hours of how we get this thing done. But honestly speaking, I've realized that this is the market. I've always been in this market. And listing Aradel today, well done to all the advisors, the SEC, the exchange, regulation, everybody. But like Bolaji told me, he said this is the largest listing by market cap that ever happened. And I remember Bolaji saying the same thing when he brought GTB to list by introduction when I was at the exchange. So congratulations, everyone. I think this is a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MDCSCS. Let me go to my doyen now so that we can do the concluding part of the listing of Aradel today. Thank you very much. Doyen, please.
Thank you, the able chairman of NGX Group. Group CEO, our own Jude Chiemeka.
Let me go to my doyen now. We can do the concluding part of the listing of Aradel.
Jalo Waziri.
Doyen, please.
And I want to take, I know that we'll say you see, it's only those that knows the bush fowl that can find its egg. Because the bush fowl will go and lay egg under the ground. You will only see one egg on top for that bush fowl to know where the rest of the eggs are. And if time you see a young man that you can help, please do. Don't kill him. Bring him up. Today, we didn't know in those days when Bolaji Balogu came to the floor that he will be the one that will be feeding the floor now. We didn't know that my brother, Garuba Mohammed, will be the one that is feeding us today. If you see a child that is growing, assist him to grow. Jalo Waziri, that is what now warehousing all that we are doing now. When he was in the exchange, we didn't know that it can be as fast as this. The pioneer MD of Aradel, well, thank you, we congratulate you. And we want to tell Tony Bizako, because I say, go out, even if you don't know what to do. Please, the snail says, when I'm going out, I carry my house, carry other people that knows the road, because he that knows the road will not lose road. Now that all hands are on deck, who know that by Friday, some people can move a stock from there to come and do listing today. Jalo Waziri has gone nuclear. If you are in a particular place and you think this place is good, very good, very good, you don't want to try the other place. It's not always good. The day I met him in his office, I said, look, see what is happening in CSCS. You have to go there. And he said, you feel like I say you can do it. I repented him the other day. Are you not doing it? You are doing it better, 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 and there's no fraud. Chairman, have you heard of fraud in CSCS since he went there? So, if you know somebody that can do something, assist him to do it. Jude, there's one this thing I'll tell you. Thank God the chairman of the group is here and the group CEO is here. Next time, if they are listening, because that's what every other person will want to hear, don't ring the bell, this thing on the table. Ring it there. Because days like this, the gong sangs twice. When you have accepted the guy, what the person has read, you have to hit this thing for acceptance. Press will hear it, brokers will hear it, they will clap that you have accepted what he has read. That's what I have known since '88. I started trading on this floor. And that's how it has been done. Don't change it. Because as you have listed today, nobody, if you ask anybody at the gallery to say you have accepted what he read, nobody will say yes. He has, even the brokers here. If you say you had it, I didn't hear it. Please, advise, not because. If you take it, it will be better for you. Because we don't want, now that the market is growing, we will carry the ones we know about and we amend the one we want to amend. And I don't know why Aradel went and selected Shodibo, Balogu, and Garoba to come and package this their stock. No, their ear is very close on the ground, because he that is ear is very close on the ground will hear the movement of the ant. If you are not very close to the ground, you will not hear this thing. Well, they say the man that knows the road, that knows the system, wherever the rain falls, the ground must know. I've seen what has transpired in all that is happening and other this thing. The unusual has happened because some people that knows what to do did what they should do. My final advice is that he that's doing well should be compensated. The woman that had cooked, they call it arcade in my place, beans, you have to pat her at the back so that next time she will cook a better beans. Well, anybody that is wise should know what I have just said. Long speech is not good for evening service. Yes, because of what you have done, and because we want to pat you at the back, we'll give you our family song, and Prof will deliver it to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my doyen. The group chairman of NGX and chairman of this occasion, and also his team from NGX Group, the chairman of Aradel, the iconic and indigenous enterprise that we are honoring today with this listing, and then the able advisors to this listing, the managing director of CSCS and other dignitaries at the podium, and also gentlemen of the press swarming this listing. We've never seen this kind of swarming before. This is wonderful. Yeah, almost like invaders. And so this is a rare occasion. It's a mega listing and a day of extreme joy. If you realize what this listing is contributing to the market capitalization of NGX. And so this family song is going to be rendered with a lot of energy. So, my doyen, we are standing already. Shall we all join our hands as we welcome Aradel to the capital market family with this family song after the count of 3. Please join your hands as one unbroken capital market family. 1, 2, 3. For they are jolly good fellows, for they are jolly good fellows, for they are jolly good fellows. And so say all of us, hooray! And so say all of us, hooray! And so say all of us, hooray! For they are jolly good fellows, for they are jolly good fellows, for they are jolly good fellows. of us 3 hearty cheers. First, sorry, wait, oh, don't beat the gun. Hip, hip, hip. That is for Aradel. Okay, the second one will also be for Aradel because there was no energy in that. Hip, hip, hip. One is going to be for 2 because Aradel has made we the indigenes of this country proud. So we are going to join them with Nigeria today. Thank you.
Closing prayer, please.
Shall we please bow down our heads in prayer? Mighty and everlasting Father, we want to indeed thank you for this very historic event on the official listing of one of the most capitalized companies in the Nigerian capital market. We also want to thank you for an opportunity to be able to give us a signal that our market is indeed deepening and expanding. We thank you for all of the representatives of the management of Aradel, those who have worked tirelessly through the years while they were still a private company. We also want to thank you for the records of transparency in their dealings. We ask, Lord, that you give them the grace to continue to meet up with this level of transparency, and indeed give them the grace to be able to meet up with their and be consistent in their payouts of dividends to the shareholders, so that indeed they'll be able to meet up with their competitors like Seplat and the rest of them in the area of pricing. We ask, Lord, that as they grow, that we will also grow with them as capital market operators, to the glory and to the honor of your holy name. In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen.
Thank you very much. So we move to the 20th floor. When she pray for the shareholders' returns, everybody say amen. Yes,
20th floor, 20th floor, 20th floor. Don't go. Move to the 20th floor. While we take our pictures here.
There's a lot of greatness in Africa. There's a fire burning inside, deep rooted in your soul. There's a wonder inside.
Energized for a brighter future is a testament to our rich history, heritage, and aspirations. Our decision to rebrand is driven by the need to fix misconceptions and increase awareness of our company.
Our vision is very clear. We will continue to develop. We will prioritize on energy sources that offer cheaper value and cheaper costs.
We are focused on the transition from just oil and gas producing company to a company that is also into renewables. There's solar, there's wind, there's bio fuels, kind of things. So currently, we're a big player, but we intend to be a bigger player in the energy space.
However, we must continue to do that in a way that ensures that shareholder value is not destroyed And that's what we've been doing, making sure that there is an appropriate pricing of the products that are directly within our control. There are some that the product prices are just not within our control. Crude oil price is not determined by one single player, it's determined by global forces. But for those that we have gone into that have direct impact into the society, we believe they are priced in such a way that it is affordable without us destroying the chances and the prospect of returning value to our shareholders.
For the future, the company has to work and work and work to retain that pole position. And what will it do? It will use the best of Nigerian resources, it will use Nigerian capital, and it would harmonize itself with the environment in which it works. And I think with all those things, the future is very, very assured.
Branding for any company is critical. For example, I mean, all the world famous brands, like if you say Mercedes, you know what it means. If you say Shell, you know what it means, and all that. So when you brand, the idea is to give a message.
The message is energized for a brighter future. And I think that's really what we want everybody, both locally and globally, to be aware that NDV is focusing, we're energized for a brighter future. I think the rebrand comes as a natural thing. We pride ourselves in the fantastic history we have as a company. A lot of pioneering has been done by NDP that's largely unknown. In actual fact, people confuse NDP for a government entity, which is not surprising because we carry the name Niger Delta, and everybody, once you hear Niger Delta, your mind goes to the government.
The name emanated from the geographical basin where our flagship asset came from, and we've worked very well on that. We are at a different turn of our corporate existence, where our vision and aspiration goes and extends beyond the reach of the Niger Delta Basin. And it is important that in doing that, we keep that future in view and adjust every aspect of our setup that will enable us to get to that destination. And the rebranding effort is first and foremost our deliberate and conscious effort to build a strong enough brand capital that is reflective of the very bold, aggressive and ambitious future that we're embracing. We want to operate still taking our route from the Niger Delta, but we want to operate across geographical boundaries. We want to operate across multiple jurisdictions. We have honed and proven the concept in the place where we started from. We believe it's time to step up to the global arena.
In coming up with the new name, we very much took that past into account and ensured that it reflected not just our heritage, but also our communities where we operate.
And this is a major consideration behind the rebranding of the name. In rebranding the name, we are still embracing everything that has to do with the identity of the Pearl brand, but we want to do it without being held back from being able to replicate the same thing in other jurisdictions.
Aradel, energized for a brighter future.
I think MC, we can go ahead. Arise, please, go ahead.
I love the energy of our chair. Can we give a round of applause for our chairman? Did you see him on the floor? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rodus Odiri. I host the Global Business Report on Arise News. It's a full house, which just speaks to the testament of, or rather, it's a testament of the excitement around this listing. You're very welcome to the facts behind the figures for Aradel Holdiings PLC. You just saw the gong being rung by the chair, and so we're about to kick things off. But first off, we've got to do a little housekeeping as far as safety is concerned. So let's play that quick 45-second video. We played that video several times when we were getting ready, so the video should be coming off any time now, because I spoke with the IT, the very efficient IT guys back there. Just, if there's a fire, you don't want you jumping out of the windows or anything. There's protocol to follow.
Welcome to Nigerian Exchange Group Event Center. At Nigerian Exchange Group, your comfort and safety is our priority. As part of our health and safety policy, please listen to the following announcement. For your convenience, the restrooms are located to your right, just outside the door of this event hall. In the unlikely event of an emergency, 2 exits have been provided for your use. A stairway that you can access from the lift lobby just before you enter the event center. Another emergency exit is located right behind the stage's backdrop. The door can be opened by pushing the handle. Please do not use the elevators during an emergency. Rather, locate the nearest exit from where you are sitting in a calm and orderly fashion. Emergency responders will also be available to provide additional instructions as required. Please switch off your cell phones or activate the silent function so we don't interrupt the proceedings here today. Once again, welcome. And do enjoy your stay at Nigerian Exchange Group.
Right, so ladies and gents, we're going to kick things off. Congrats again to Aradel Holdiings PLC for a historic listing. They couldn't have picked a better time to do this, because around the world, everybody is talking about oil and gas, from the demand and supply fundamentals on the global stage to right here in Nigeria. Who isn't talking about oil and gas, on the deregulation of the downstream sector, and so on and so forth. So let's begin with some recognitions. The folks that have made this possible. Again, so much energy. I just love him when he speaks. Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chair, NGX Group, Alhaji Dr. Umar Okwaranga. Up next, the Group Managing Director, CEO, NGX Group, Mr. Temi Popola. Next up, the CEO of the NGX, Mr. Jude Chiamaka. And up next, we heard him speak on the floor, the doyens of the market, Sam Data. He had a great speech. On to Aradel Holdiings PLC. He rang the bell once, and then the chair of the NGX was like, no, ring it more times. Ring it many, many more times. Mr. Ladi Jadesimi, the chair of Aradel Holdiings PLC. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. It's a good day. Mr. Adebiti Falade, Chief Executive Officer, Managing Director, Aradel Holdiings PLC. And the Chief Financial Officer, man, we go back. Mr. Adegbola Additional, Chief Financial Officer, Aradel Holdiings PLC. You're very welcome. All right, we got more recognitions, okay? We have more. So, of course, the board of Aradel Holdings, then Mr. Bolaji Balogun, Chief Executive Officer, Chapel Hill Denham, the lead issuing house, doing all the legwork. Mr. Garba Mohammed, Director, NGX Group Executive Director, Cardinal Stone Partners Limited. Cardinal Stone has a great report on the listing. They have a target price and some upside, so you should read that report. I read it just yesterday. Also, Dr. Farouk Umar, Director at the NGX. Very welcome. Mr. Haruna Jawal Waziri, Chief Executive Officer, Central Securities Clearing System. That's CSCS. Thank you, sir. Mr. Sam Onukwe, Chairman of the Association of Securities Dealing House of Nigeria. Well, we can give him a round of applause anyway, right? Mr. Lai Fatuna, Vice Chair, ND Western Limited. Mr. Oladele Sosubo, CEO, Stanbic IBTC Capital Limited. All right. Mr. Olurotimi Aleshinoye, Managing Director of Coronation Registers. All right, there he is. By the way, I subscribe to all your newsletters to keep up with the market. Coronation, Stanbic, everybody, CSCS. Mr. Ogogo Akpata, Managing Partner at Templars Law. I read their reports. Templars Law, they put out good reports. Mr. Olusegun Ario, Vice Chair, CEO, Capital Assets Limited. Very welcome, very welcome. And Mr. Farouk Oragba, who is the MD at the NG Clearing Limited. All right, ladies and gents, let us kick things off with opening remarks from our very passionate, energetic chair of the NGX Group, Alhaji Dr. Omar Okwaringa.
Thank you very much for these words of encouragement. For us at NGS, we always appreciate these words of encouragement for us to do more for the market. So good afternoon, distinguished guests, shareholders, investors, and esteemed stakeholders. It is an honor to welcome you all as we mark a significant milestone with the listing of Aradel Holdiings Plc on the NGX main board, an achievement that benefits both the company, the capital market, and the broader Nigerian economy. Today's listing, which involves the admission of 4.34 billion shares with a market capitalization of over 3 trillion naira, reflects the fast-forward-thinking leadership, resilience, and commitment of Aradel Holdings. The company has been a key player in Nigeria's energy sector, particularly in the exploration, production, and refining of petroleum products. At the Nigerian Exchange Group, we are proud to be Africa's leading integrated market infrastructure group, providing a robust, transparent, and technologically advanced platform that facilitates efficient capital raising. Our market is strategically positioned to support the growth ambitions of businesses by offering a trusted environment underpinned by world-class governance standards and innovative frameworks. The successful listing of Aradel Holdings today underscores the strength and viability of NGS as a preferred platform for companies looking to unlock value and achieve their growth potentials. Aradel's commitment to innovation, strategic investment, and sound governance sets a benchmark for the oil and gas industry, showcasing the immense opportunities that our capital market offers to businesses. This achievement is not only a win for Aradel, but also a strong signal to both local and global investors that Nigerian capital market remains dynamic, resilient, and full of opportunities. We are proud to serve as a trusted partner in facilitating capital raising, supporting companies like Aradel that contribute significantly to Nigeria's economic growth. Moreover, Aradel listings aligns with Nigeria's broader national objective of building a $1 trillion economy. By enhancing its visibility, governance, and access to capital, Aradel is well positioned to scale its operations and create value for shareholders while contributing to Nigeria's economic diversification. The oil and gas sector remains a critical driver of our economy, and companies like Aradel are expanding the sector's footprints. Their successes demonstrate that local capital and content can propel the industry to new heights, contributing to Nigeria's broader economic transformation. As Aradel Holdings joins the NGX main board today, we celebrate a story of resilience, innovation, and ambition. We are confident that Aradel's growth will further strengthen Nigeria's capital market and reinforce the critical role of NGX in supporting the aspiration of companies across all sectors. In conclusion, let me reiterate that the listing of one of the fastest growing companies in the Nigerian oil, upstream, and downstream sector is another step in NGX's growth strategy to comprehensively mirror the nation's economy. For us, for too long, our market capitalization has reflected only part of our Nigerian's economy and GDP, while the market capitalization of exchanges in advanced countries and even the Johannesburg Stock Exchange have even equal or surpassed the GDP of their countries. The onboarding of major companies like Aradel PLC today, Dangote Refinery very soon, and eventually NMPC will take us towards that target of that $1 trillion GDP for Nigeria and market capitalization for the NGX group. I wish to assure the board and management of Aradel Holdiings Plc that you have taken the right step with this decision to list on the NGX group, as this exchange is forward-thinking, responsive, and provide access to deep pools of liquidity locally and internationally. Once again, congratulations to the leadership and shareholders of Aradel Holdiings Plc on this remarkable achievement. We look forward to your continued success and the positive contributions you will bring to the Nigerian oil and gas sector in particular, and the wider economy in general. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause as he goes back to his seat. Where did the market close? When he starts speaking, I think he rose the market. He has a booming, energetic voice. Temi Popola is up next. He's no less passionate. In fact, a little story. When I started my journey in business media, I had a show called Business Express on 98.1 FM. Temi was one of my first guests that joined me. So it's been an honor, following his career and his leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for his opening remarks. Temi Popola, Group CEO of the NGX Group.
Thank you very much, Rotus. And let me, as we would usually say, stand on all the protocols that have been established. I'm sure you haven't really come to listen to NGX, so I'll make my remarks very, very brief. I'll do three things. One is just to thank every single party that has been involved in this transaction. Ultimately, at the exchange, we're really a B2B, and we're really, in a way, of no good but for those who take our B to the ultimate customers. And I really want to celebrate every single party who, not just today, in the last perhaps 10, 20 years, as we've said, that have contributed to today. A lot has been said about the CSCS, my colleagues, Jude and the team, the lawyers, the intermediaries. We're very grateful. Number two also is to Aradel, to say a very, very big thank you and congratulations to the company. Earlier, I spoke about my own personal journey with the company, both before my time at the exchange and even now. We're very grateful that they've chosen the exchange. They've chosen this historic moment. You look at a listing like this, it does so many things for our market. It, for example, validates what we talk about, local capital and local solutions to our local problems. This is an indigenous local company listed on a local exchange. They had so many other options that they could, being supported primarily by local capital. And I think that's a very good picture for, I think, a country at large. Otherwise, you look also at potential impacts on our markets. We have oil and gas companies listed today, but to see a solid quality company like this, you start to think about comparisons and comps and how that strengthens the market. Of course, it's another good testament to companies that are looking behind. People look up to Aradel, and steps that they take, I think, are quite helpful. So we're grateful for the listen. And finally, is just to speak very quickly as to how we continue to work within the group to transform our market. This listing fits into, as you would see, a lot of the activity we've done since the start of the year. We're very grateful, the tailwind, as it were, that continues to support our business. We have big ambitions around technology, about the digital transformation of our market, how to bring retail investors to this market, how to strengthen, all of the governance that supports our market. And ultimately, I think as we look at the regulator today, the SEC, who continues to take a very strong lead for all of us to follow, the exchange continues to look up to that. So without further ado, let me thank you all finally very much for being here as we look forward to a very good presentation from the company. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for Temi Popola there. All right, up next, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving right along. CEO's remarks. Up next is Jude Chemaka, who is the CEO of the NGX. Round of applause as he approaches the stage.
The Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Let me start by congratulating Aradel Holdiings Plc for taking this giant stride to list on the Nigerian Exchange Limited. We're truly delighted that this journey that started many years ago has now come to fruition in our lifetime. just from the hall, I was speaking with my colleague earlier, why do you have so many people here? It just shows you the strong followership the brand commands. But beyond that, there's substance to it. The revenue from last year, there's a growth of 335%. I'm sure you'll get to hear the details of that. Profit after tax grew by 355%. There are not so many companies in Nigeria or even in the world that can churn out such performance. So I think they deserve a very round of applause for such stellar performance. At the NGX, we remain committed to creating a platform where there's strong liquidity. Year to date, investors have traded over 2 trillion naira worth of securities. So this listing is a good listing for investors, but it's also because of our strong liquidity, they can find good price discovery and they'll be able to get value anytime you want. The NGX is a multi-asset exchange, so it's not just equities. So we must also remind numerous potential issuers that you can take advantage of our platform. Year to date, we've facilitated over 5.7 trillion naira across different asset classes. So in as much as we are viable for equities, you can also list fixed income, you can also list ETFs. So we're truly delighted to be seeing today. Let me also thank specifically the joint issuing houses, Chapel Hill, Dedham, Stanbic, IBTC, and the stockbroker to the issue, Cardinal Stone Securities, as well as the Registrar Coronation and the legal advisors, Templars. It's such parties that really bring in strong performing companies to our market, and we need that because year to date we've listed now 152 companies on the exchange, which provides an array of options across different sectors for investors to grow their wealth. On the back of what event we had with the SEC, we must commend the efforts of the SEC also in trying to grow retail participation on our market, making sure that there is strong oversight so that investors that invest in the market are well protected. I must also like, I think the MC missed him out, Mr. Femi Shobanjo, who is the CEO of NGX Regulation. I think you guys can clap for him. The reason why they do what they do is the reason why we're here, because without a well-regulated market, it's always very difficult for investors to have confidence. We now have a market that is well-regulated. We have a market that has strong confidence, and that confidence continues to grow. Even from the international community. Last year, the international investors in our market was 10%. This year, it's now grown to 21%. And I think that is because of all the work that is being done across the various segments of the market. Lastly, let me also thank my colleagues at the NGX in general, who have worked tirelessly to make your experience here pleasant. And I'm sure from the lift to even while we're talking, the primary market department led by Tony Beziako, our corporate communications team led by Clifford, and they continue to do amazing work at the NGX to make sure that the brand continues to deliver on the promise. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. All right, let's now invite the chair of Aradel Holdiings Plc, Mr. Ladi Jadisimi, for his remarks.
Good day to good day to you all, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very happy day, of course, for Aradel, but I believe it's also a very, very happy day for the NGX group and for Nigeria in general, because Aradel is a thoroughly Nigerian company. It was envisaged, started, grown, and developed all by Nigerians. The founding fathers, actually to me, what's most interesting about today is that the founding fathers, right at the inception, had as one of their key objectives to form a company, grow a company, but in such a way as to finally afford every Nigerian the opportunity to participate in what is now known as the energy sector. And of course, today is the full realization of that key objective. Because today it's common for companies to have a purpose apart from making money and succeeding. But way back then, about 3 decades ago, this wasn't the case. So I think the founders of the company are to be commended that apart from setting out to hopefully grow a successful business, they also had the sense of purpose to the business. And the purpose was to eventually get to a stage where every Nigerian will be able to buy, even if it's a couple of shares in the business. The Aradel that we see today is a testimony to the solid foundation laid by the founding fathers. We're very fortunate we have with us today one of the founding fathers who, more importantly, was also the founding managing director. So I think a lot of what we see today in terms of what Aradel has achieved and set to achieve is down to his tireless effort at growing the company literally from absolutely nothing. It was a marginal field, and literally, as I said, absolutely nothing. And he grew the company with tremendous foresight, and I think, perhaps most importantly, a very keen sense of fiduciary responsibility, because that's the key to forming a company, inviting investors, and being a faithful custodian to the investors' money. And that he did with unusual credit. Now, in terms of where we are today and going forward, and this is what investors would like to know, we fortunately have today a new set of managing director, executive board, and non-executive board that, in my view, are quite easily more than capable to take off from what they've inherited in terms of where we are today. Because when investors invest their money, they are investing in the future. They're not investing in the past, because you expect to have value addition, to have dividends going forward. And I can assure all of you here that the current leadership of the company have already demonstrated, especially during this current year, but more importantly, in the last 2-3 years, of very, very, very difficult circumstances. I mean, there was a time when the pipeline flowing oil to the export terminal was virtually out of commission. However, one of the important, insightful activities that the founding director embarked upon was to start a refining process, starting with a just 1,000 barrels a day topping plant, followed by a modular refinery of $5,000 per day capacity, and a second of 5,000 barrels a day capacity. So when the export pipeline was out, Aradel was fortunate to have this refining capacity and to be able to refine their crude and have different streams of income from petroleum products and also from gas processing. I won't take much more of your time because the managing director is going to give us a presentation in some detail of what investors are investing in and what they can look forward to in terms of return on their investment in years to come. So thank you all very much again for being here today. It's very heartwarming that we have a full house. And I can assure you that as investors, the market will not be disappointed. Thank you.
Please keep the applause going for the chair of Aradel Holdiings Plc. All right, so this is what you all have been waiting for, which is, of course, the MD CEO to give us the facts behind the figures. We will take questions, so prepare your questions, and don't let me take over because I interview executives for a living, so I could take over the whole thing. So do prepare your questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, a warm welcome to Mr. Adebite Falade, who's the MD CEO, Aradel Holdiings Plc.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Please allow me to stand on the protocol that has been established through the different phases of our event today. I just want to test first that the clicker is working. Yeah, I'm meant to be controlling it with this. Okay, it's working, thank you. No, I'm not the one controlling it. Somebody else is controlling it. Oh, I need to point it to this. No, it's not working. Okay, it's working. All right. I'll try to make this as short as I can and go straight to the point so we can indulge sufficient time for your questions. I'm also mindful that we have so many people that are standing. My apologies that we have to keep you standing. So I'm going to make it as brief and straight to the point as is possible. Let me start by providing a national context to our company by way of looking at the Nigerian oil and gas industry. And I'm just going to be stating a few things that you already know so well. We are one of the most prolific and endowed geographical basin. Proven reserves today is about 37 billion barrels. We are still scratching the surface on that. That's in terms of oil. In terms of gas, our proven reserves is about 206 trillion standard cubic feet of gas. At the current rate of exploitation, we will spend over 110 years to be able to exhaust that. And that's mainly associated gas. For non-associated gas, that number potentially grows from the 206 TCF to over 600 TCF. So essentially, Nigeria is a huge tank of gas with droplets of oil. These have together over the years provided the economic lifeline for us as a nation. As at the time we checked the last, at $81 per barrel, the oil and gas industry accounted for about 32% of our national revenue based on the 1.3 million barrels per day that was produced last year. Interesting to know that that 1.3 million barrels is actually about 50% of the peak that we have done as a country in 2005 when we were conveniently doing 2.5 million barrels per day. And I think the point I would like to make is that those resources have not disappeared. We just have to contend with a number of factors. And I will speak to what we have done in Aradel, which has positioned us to where we are today and probably gives an insight as to where we'll be going forward. So let me speak a bit about us as Aradel. We are a conglomerate. We're a group of companies. Essentially, we today operate and generate value from 6 different assets and companies. In no particular order, the first of them is our upstream entity, which is Aradel Energy Limited. Today situated with the flagship asset at Ogbele. Last year, we ended up with a year average of almost 10,000 barrels per day. We ended this year slightly north of 13,000 barrels per day. In that place, it's a 20,000 barrels per day processing plant. In that same location as well, we have a gas plant. with capacity installed of about 100 million scf per day. As at last year, we were on about 26.5 million scf per day in terms of average production. As at half year this year, we won 40 million scf per day. In that same location, we also have a modular refinery. Capacity is 11,000 barrels per day. Last year, we achieved year average of 42%, and that's the highest we had achieved. And this year, we are trending north of that. All that combined together to establish a year revenue, full year revenue of 2023 at $342 million. But that's not the only set of assets that we have. We also have another asset, which is a marginal field called Omerelu. Omerelu is a growth opportunity for us. Up until May 31st this year, we had not worked it. But on May 31st this year, we successfully re-entered a well in that, and we've started production from there. And it represents one of the growth vistas for us going into the future. And the course of this year as well, we've also successfully acquired divested marginal fields from Total in the form of two assets. The first one being Olo Main PML, I can't remember what the PML is, and Olo West, which is a PPL. We hold significant participating interest in a shallow offshore block, OPL 227, that is also going through PPL assignment as we speak today. We also have non-operated equity interest in OML 34. OML 34 is an asset of strategic national importance to the country, arguably probably the largest supplier of domestic gas, if not the largest, the second largest. OML 34 is owned 45% divested interest from Shell, Ajip, and Total, was acquired by an SPV called ND Western. ND Western has as shareholders Aradel. Aradel owns 42% of that company and the majority shareholder. Also Petrolene, First A&P, and Watersmith. This asset holds significant resources, both at 2P and 2C levels, and represents significant growth vista for us as a company. We also do have partnerships outside the shores of this country, one of which is a joint venture with NIPET. NIPET is the state-owned petroleum corporation in South Sudan, where we hold a 49% in a joint venture called Nile Delta, and is working actively for the past 8 years and creating value therefrom. In terms of how our journey has evolved, which is the next slide that you have before you, we were incorporated in 1992 as Midas Drilling Fund. In 1996, we changed our name to Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC. In 2000, we successfully pioneered and negotiated the first set of bilaterally negotiated marginal fields for Ogbele and Omerelu from what was then Gulf Oil, now known as Chevron. 5 years after that, we successfully achieved first oil from Ogbele, which at that time was considered to be a field, marginal field, holding barely 5 million barrels remaining producible reserves, and which at the rate of extraction in the last 18 years, we have successfully extracted as much as about 30 million barrels. And the proved reserves as at the last competent person report shows we even have more reserves in place than what we have extracted. In 2010, in a very opportunistic way, we pioneered the concept of modular refinery when we installed the first train of what is now our Aradel refinery, which was a topping plant basically to produce and supply diesel for our operations. But we have since then scaled that to 11,000 barrels per day, producing not just AGO, producing other products that includes marine diesel oil, heavy fuel oil, DPK, and naphtha. And that continues to grow in terms of capacity utilization. In 2012, as part of demonstration of adherence to global standards, we eliminated routine flaring from our operations with the commissioning of the gas plant, and we commenced a journey of consistent delivery of processed natural gas into the NLNG. As I speak today, we have over time supplied over 110 BCF of gas under that arrangement on the back of quality offtake agreements to NLNG. Our journey continued with a recognition by the World Bank as we won the Global Gas Flare Award for eliminating routine flaring. In 2017, we started our journey into the shallow offshore as we drilled the first well in the OPL 227. In 2022, just to mention a few more, we started raising the bar in terms of our quality adherence, and we achieved our ISO certification, as well as raising the bar at 2022. We were at some point 15, 16 million man-hours without injury. In 2023, as part of the journey that is happening today, we rebranded from the name that has served us meritoriously to become Aradel Holdiings Plc at a well-attended ceremony that took place in August of 2023. And in 2024, which is where we are today, we have followed that up first at the start of the year by being part of the consortium that was announced as the preferred winner for the planned divestment of the onshore and the shallow offshore assets and company of Shell Petroleum Development Company, a transaction for which we have executed the sales and purchase agreement, but which is going through the necessary processes for consent and ministerial approval. By the time this closes, it's going to represent a huge upside in terms of the runway for us in existence as a company and our license to continue to create and generate value. In 2024 as well, we also, as I've mentioned earlier on, acquired 100% divested interest in Olo main field and Olo west field from the Total SPD, Total NNPC joint venture in OMF 58. And we've then also stepped it up as of July this year. We successfully attained our $1 trillion market cap on the NASD. Today, we are glad and happy that we have accelerated and reached our 3 trillion. That is what I'd like to say. But let me also mention that the journey of this company had been made possible by one of our competitive advantage, which is we've got a very solid board, a board of experienced, talented, selfless, motivated directors who straddle across different parts of our economic firmament, whether it is law, whether it is finance, whether it is geology, whether it's corporate strategy. These are people who have name recognition, and I've introduced a few of them. This continues to become a safeguard and a strong guardrail for us as we continue to steer the affairs of the company. But it's not just in the composition of the board. We also have very strong corporate governance processes, first at the board level, but also cascaded within the fabric of the organization in the way we run the business, in the way we sanction projects, in the way we audit stuff, just to make sure that we continue to run a sustainable business model. This very experienced and matured board is supported by a very strong management team, a management team that within themselves at the executive level combine over 200 man-years of experience across the industry, tested, proven, and will continue to drive the operations of the business. In going to the next slide, okay, thank you. We've had, even though we're just coming in onto the NGX, we've been on the NASD in the last 11 years. In those 11 years, we ended up with a company that had issued shares of 217,242,218 shares that closed the market after being redenominated by a factor of 20 from the 10 naira nominal share to the 50 kobo nominal share at 4,344,844,360 shares, which is what has now been ported and is being traded on the NGX. Just to mention that our existence on the NASD allowed us appreciable price discovery, and we've held ourselves to the highest standards of compliance and governance on the NASD. What I've painted is the firmament of where we are today, but let me go a bit further behind the veil to then speak to our equity story and what I think is the anchor point that you can take comfort and confidence in as what will sustain us as we go into the future. In terms of the way we've set up our business, we're not just probably the first indigenous integrated energy business in this country. We're probably the most deepened in the way we have set up ourselves across the various parts of the value chain. We are fully integrated, and our integration provides us a very strong level of robustness that allows us to be able to make sure the enterprise continues to remain whole as we navigate the sectorial challenges from upstream to midstream and to downstream. So there's a natural edge, there's a natural set-off, and depending on the dynamics of pricing, we are able to compensate one part with the other just to make sure that the whole continues to be bigger than the sum of the individual parts. We're strategically located in the Niger Delta. In terms of land offtake, we arguably have the smallest and probably the most efficient land offtake. Our 3 plants in Ogbele are co-located. But we also run that business in a most environmentally friendly way, in a way where there is practically zero effluent discharges into the environment. Our water that we produce from our oil are treated to safe standards as per regulation, but they are re-injected into the formation, into deep reservoirs, and so we don't discharge any into the environment. I spoke about the fact that we've eliminated routine flaring from our operations, and that continues to stand us in very good stead. Last year was, up until now, our record hydrocarbon production, and I'm happy to mention to you that despite what we produced in 2022 and what we produced in 2023, we've ended up those periods replacing every single hydrocarbon barrel that we have produced. Whilst we have not yet certified what our new reserves position is today, our in-house estimate shows us that even the elevated production that we have in the course of 2024, we've created enough producible reserves at 2P level to more than replace every single one that we have produced. And I think this is important in our type of business because it shows the viability of the company and the runway going forward. We've been at this business operating for the past 18 years. In those 18 years, we have honed in our crafts. In those 18 years, we have perfected our efficiencies, and we have become sustainable even in very difficult circumstances. And I think one of the most difficult circumstances that we have passed through, and which as a nation we're still passing through, is the threat of crude theft to those of us who are upstream producers. For data, at the start of 2021, the volume of theft of our production that occurred in the evacuation pipeline going to the terminal started at about 28%. By the time we ended 2021, it had grown from a loss factor of about 28% to about 94%. That was not just typical to us, that was the narrative to our entire industry. And with that challenge also showcased one of our competitive advantage, which is our ability to dig in and to be creative. And what we did was to immediately cycle back our production in order to curtail what is exposed to theft, but then to commence an ambitious and aggressive program of alternative evacuation via barging that then allowed us to make sure we remained in operation. Now, while that was gaining traction between 2022 to 2023, we then doubled down on our refining capacity utilization and grew that sufficiently such that even with curtailed production in 2022 financials headed up at that time being the record financial revenue performance that the company had had. But because we were able to successfully navigate that, we then started reaping the reward in 2023. And so 2023 saw an unlocking of the deferment such that we then ended up the year with production that was about almost 100% more than what we did in 2022 at about 9,700 barrels per day. And that then translated in what has now become the record financial performance of $342 million US. We continue to run and operate the business safely. The fact of our diversified revenue streams continues to hedge us. And I would say that the diversification of our revenue stream occurs on multiple fronts. On the first front is the diversification in terms of products. So we have revenue accruing from oil exports. We have revenue accruing from gas and from refined products. But what we have done, which should provide comfort to prospective shareholders and current shareholders, is that we further disintermediated those product lines so that at the upstream, we've got revenue to export and revenue to domestic markets. At the gas level, we've got revenue to the export and to the domestic markets. And for the refined products, we've sequestered our products in such a way that we have products that are sold domestically and that are sold export-wise. And within all of that, we've then created physical pathways to the market that are highly redundant so that it becomes difficult for an event that we isolate us from being able to earn revenue without it being a national problem that affects everybody. It is done in such a way that even when everybody is affected, we'll be one of the last to go out. And I think it's part of what we bring to the table and what continues to stand us in good stead going forward. We've worked successfully in partnerships. I mentioned the partnership we've had with our partners, our traditional partners, with whom we invested in ND Western, and we've carried that forward into the investment in Renaissance Africa Energy Company that continues to stand us in good stead. I'm going to mention, because of time, I think I'm just going to quickly pivot off to the financials, and I'm going to be calling the CFO to speak a bit to the financials, and I'll come back and round up in a few minutes, and then we'll take your questions. Thank you.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm going to try and move quicker than my CEO talk about, but just before, I just wanted to clarify. He mentioned Olo and Olo West. As we speak, they're undergoing necessary approvals with the regulators, and we hope that sooner rather than later, they will be issued with their PML and PPL, respectively. I mentioned that because it also speaks to what he said about our ability to move through very quickly to try and create value for all our stakeholders. So very quickly, we will talk through our revenues. One of the things that he mentioned was, as we were able to disintermediate some of these blockages, over time, the value began to show, and it began to show very quickly. We talked about the high revenues in 2022, full year, demolished by the higher revenues in 2023, and as of H1 2024, other things being equal, it will be also a record-breaking year for the company in terms of revenues. EBITDA is also robust, as well as dividend per share. Now, there's been a lot of talk about dividends, interim dividends. We will see. It is true. The pressure is there. So while they're looking at the CEO, they are pointing at me, so I need to say that very, very quickly. But we are very mindful of ensuring that for all our shareholders, both new and potential, we will continue to do as we have promised. One of the things that we said about distributions last year in our annual financial statements was that we will be targeting a certain percentage of our profit after tax and also our cash from operations. And we intend to stick to that promise for as long as we're able to create value for our shareholders. Okay, the CEO has already talked about this, so I will skip very, very quickly. Wait, have I gone too far? Sorry, I think I've gone too far. Okay, could you please scroll to the financials, please, because I'm struggling with this device. Next, we already spoke about this. So please go to slide 25, please. Yes, thank you. So, as we were saying, our revenues, more than anything, have crystallized all the efforts that as an organization we have been working on. And present in the audience here, I think they deserve a round of applause. Our very strong management and all our employees within the organization to support us. I think a round of applause for them, please. Thank you very much. EBITDA of $126 million, it's about 990 billion naira, and a net cash flow from operations for H1 of $140 million, equivalent of 165 billion naira. Next, please. You can see the growth in these numbers. Half year return on assets, 7% already. Other things being equal, subject to final audit, already eclipsing the value that we were able to create full-time last year. Same thing for our return on equity. Our intention is to keep an eye on ensuring returns to our shareholders again. I don't think we'll ever get tired of repeating that, because now that we're on the NGX, that is all it is that will be measured by. Next, please. To achieve this, of course, we do not shy away from incurring the necessary expenditure, laying the foundation for additional value creation. As of last year, we spent a total of about $52 billion, and I apologize that I'm quoting dollars and not naira. That represents more than 80% of the kind of expenditure that we incur. And the naira, I mean, while it might move from place to place, we know that the dollars are what it is that will determine how much we can spend. H1 this year, we've already spent about 33 million US, and we intend to follow through to close out all the initiatives that we already have in process that will set us up for next year and the years beyond. Next, please. And to support that, as of today, at least, we have the cash. Closing cash of almost $300 million, about $270+ billion. In naira terms, that's equivalent about 401 billion. This supports our ability to meet all these demands on our expansion. And we also have lines available from our financial institutions on the debt side who have remained steadfast and continue to support us as we grow as an organization. Next, please. So I will yield the floor for my CEO to close. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Degbola. So what would I like to leave us with before we take your questions? I will just speak to the following points. That in Aradel, you are looking to a well-run business. In Aradel, you are looking to a company that is blessed with strong governance culture and a very competent management team. In Aradel, you are looking at a company with a solid track record of strong top line, top quartile efficiencies, and top quartile margin performance. In Aradel, you are looking at a business that is integrated, whose integration offers robust and diversified earnings with inbuilt edges against sectoral fluctuations. In Aradel, because we serve multiple destination markets that I've spoken to earlier on, domestic exports for oil, gas, and refined products, you've got a business that is set up to mitigate against cash flow volatility. In Aradel, you've got a company that is highly cash generative. In Aradel, you've got a company whose offtake is underpinned by strong credit-worthy offtake agreements. In Aradel, you've got a company that has honed its crafts and is operating with exceptional and low cash flow generation cycles. In Aradel, you are looking at a company whose revenue mix is so diversified along currency lines. As we speak today, our USD earning is at least 74% of the total. And if you just think about how that hedges against potential naira fluctuation and preserves your investment, that is the company that you are investing in. In Aradel, you've got a company that has got very strong, unbroken commitment to distributions to shareholders by way of dividend. In the company, you're also looking at a company with a strong growth funnel. And last but not the least, you are looking at a company with a significant upside potential when our transactions that are on the queue for approvals take place. I'd like to thank you for your time in listening, and we'll take questions.
All right. Many thanks to Mr. Adebite Falade, MD, CEO, Aradel Holdings, and of course, Mr. Adebola, Additional Chief Financial Officer. So, gosh, I have so many questions on my own, but I guess I have to have you both on my show. So yeah, if you have questions, do raise your hand and indicate, okay, we have a gentleman there. So you want to get a microphone over to him, and then I need to use moderator's privilege. I have to ask a question as well. Any other question? Okay, good. The less, the better, so I can ask more. Okay, no, we have another question in the back. So I think we'll take them in sets of 3, so they can all okay, and we also have a question at the front here. Okay, so let's start with you, sir. Your name and your question, please.
Thank you. For the records, my name's Nona Awu, and I also want to make a confession that I also own shares in Aradel.
Round of applause for that. He's a shareholder. That's what we want to hear. All of you should be shareholders by the end of the day. All right. Okay, no, the market is closed by tomorrow. All right, go ahead, sir.
MD, I will want to share a discussion I had with your predecessor. One of the things I mentioned to him when he told me he was retiring, I did ask him that he should find time and get affiliated to one of the management schools locally, so that he will not be running away with all that he has done with Aradel. But having heard the presentation for the newer MD, I think you also should be getting ready to join him when you retire. You're a young man, yes, I know, but I think you should get ready. However, I will be hoping that one of the things that you will do after this event is that you should try as much as possible and get your presentation distributed to investors and brokers who are here. And the reason is simple. I don't want you to come at your next visit and begin to complain that your share price is undervalued, because that's one of the common issues that you hear from chief executive when they come here. But if you haven't provided information, nobody is going to take your information from the blues, but on what you have provided. That's the first appeal I want to make. I also want to, for the MC, because I heard him say he has questions, the chances are also high by the time you come here next time, and if they invite you and the chairman is here, you are going to likely call the chairman pastor, because when he was on the trading floor, he made projections and then closed his presentation with amen. And I said, I know this man, he used to be an allergy, I don't know where he belongs to, but please take note, because that's maybe one of the things that... But it's important that Aradel does not allow the chairman's vision, I'm talking about NGX now, his vision and projection to become false. You talked about, because he talked about interim dividend, and the finance director came and said, we are looking at it. And I said, this man probably hasn't realized where he has arrived yet. You need to tell us about your policy around interim dividends. Because if you don't, that may be one of the wrong that you're already putting on your scorecard. So please speak to it, not just say you are looking at it. Because some of us know where you are coming from. But for people who don't know and they don't understand it because you haven't provided it, that itself may be a bigger challenge for you. I want to also ask, having said all of the one that I said, what informed your 50 kobo par value? Because if you probably didn't think about it, the way your price has already gone now, that may be a challenge for you. And if you do find that it's a challenge, will you be open to going to 20 kobo or 25 kobo par value as a way of also managing your share price? Because there's a difference between managing share price and manipulating your share price. And I think that that's one of the things that you must begin to have your eyes on as we make progress. Let me close on the note of, yes, I've heard your strategy. Unfortunately, I also had opportunity of reading it. Unfortunately for me, I also have huge respect for the departed. Adams first brought me to your AGM when I was head of capital market and investment in Business Concord. So I've also followed you since then. However, you haven't told enough as to where you are headed tomorrow. I don't think you have told enough. So don't keep it in your bag and walk away from the door here. This is something that I think that you need to talk a little more about. I will also be pleading with NGX. Timmy, you're lucky. Your chairman is writing your appraisal and is releasing the report in public. But haven't released your result in public. And I also did hear him, he said you should go on maternity leave. Before you go on maternity leave, I think one major thing that you must address and find a way of addressing, this is a major risk. If anything happens, most of us are going to go through one door. And if you have people coming to this function, they have to stand and block the way. Some persons have gone out. That is something I think we shouldn't allow to happen. I will plead with you again. And it's on that note, I want to thank the chairman. Not you, you are nodding your head. I'm talking about the chairman of Aradel. don't be too quick in nodding your head. The reason I'm thanking him, again, talking about yesterday, I was also fortunate to have been introduced to him by FCMB founder. And I remember at that AGM as well, then a private bank. I remember some of the things said about you. So and I will be hoping that all of you together will keep the flag flying, because nobody is going to respect Nigeria if Nigerians don't put up respectable performances globally. So once again, I want to thank you, and may good Lord bless the company and take you to where my Yoruba friend, when I asked him to pronounce Aradel, how he told me. By the way, he's from Ibadan. Apologies to the people from Ibadan. You know, they have a way of calling shooting and shooting. And when I gave him the annual account for 2023, say, this one is Arade. So if Ara means wonder, then you need to perform wonder even after today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so Thank you so much. So we're actually over time. We should be leaving by now. So we got to keep the questions short. So the question was actually, what informed your 50 kobo par value? I know we had a question in the back. Sir, you have to be really quick and get straight to your question, because we've got one more question here. I don't get to ask any questions now because of time. So we really got to keep it really quick. Thank you.
Standing on the existing protocol, I'm Kehinde Adiaga, Business and Financial Perspectives on Rainbow FM. I just want to know, as a major player in the energy subsector of the economy, what is your take on what is happening in the energy sector of the economy? As a producing nation, why are we going through all this that we are going through in the energy sector of the economy? Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. In fact, okay, I'm going to piggyback on that question. Okay, I see the CFO jotting it down. So my piggyback question is, what is your outlook on the deregulation of the downstream sector and what that does for your operations in terms of your profitability? Because I know you're in the downstream as well. So thank you for that. I get to piggyback off that. Aroga, please, a microphone to the front here for our next question and our final question.
Thank you. My first question to the chairman is, are you thinking of dual listing in the future? That is one. Two, could you take a minute or two to talk to us about the competition? we have Seplat, we have other oil marketing companies like yours. One of them is paying interim dividend every quarter. For corporate governance, like Nona Ao said, you must have a policy. We as shareholders must know what we expect from the company. You have been paying, you paid interim dividend last year from an EPS of 60 naira. You paid 30 naira. Perhaps that's why some of us invested, thinking that with your EPS half year of 480 naira, you would pay at least 100 naira interim dividend for your share before the redistribution. And my final question to you, I saw your SWOT analysis, the threat. Now we have Dangote refinery. How is that going to affect our company? Thank you.
All right, please take it away with your hands. I think your mic is working. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for the questions. Prof, it's always a delight to see you, and each time you hold the microphone, I'm holding my breath. Because your questions are always very incisive, reflecting very deep contemplation, and it forces one to think again. And I'd like to thank you for that value that you bring to these conversations. I take on board the comments you've made about the suggestions, so I'm just going to limit myself to the questions part of your contribution. Apologies if we did not speak enough about the future to the extent of comfort. We are constrained by the time. We're told do this in 25 minutes. I wanted to make sure we give you a good top of the house. But I would then indulge the fact that you've asked this question to then speak to some of that in a much clearer way. On dividend, we have a board-approved policy for dividend payments. That policy is what underpinned the interim dividend that was paid last year and the final that was paid this year. That dividend policy was carefully curated to use a number of metrics that will automatically throw up the numbers. And the result is that we then moved from a full year dividend payment of 35 naira against the financial year of 2022. As a consequence of that policy, it translated to an interim dividend of 30 naira for 2023 and a final dividend of 170 naira, making it a full year 200 naira for the 10 naira shares par that we had prior. By reason of that policy, in 2024, there will be, in bold, underlined, and in caps, dividend payments, whose number would be determined as an outcome of that, of the algorithm encroached in that. And there is also going to be a final dividend that will then be paid when the full year audited account has been put in place. For guidance, we believe very positively, and I'm happy to say this without fear of being misconstrued, that we foresee a dividend performance that will satisfy your expectations. I'll leave out the numbers because I've been told I must watch what I say as a public company. But you will not be disappointed. That's how I'm going to leave that. What informed the 50 kobo par value? This was based on the well-informed professional advice of our advisors, who saw the need for us to align with what is standard and common on the NGX, where most stocks are 50 kobo. And you agree with me that whilst we remained as a 10 naira par, direct comparisons with others was not a very convenient experience. But by redenominating to par value that is typical, it allows you and all informed analysts and investors to then be able to assessors. So that's the pure consideration. Will it always remain 50 kobo? We don't know, but we believe if there are enough developments to warrant a change sometimes in the future, we'll continue to count on the professional advice of our transaction advisors to do that. In terms of that future, already, if you look at what our performance had been as at H1 2024, is already trending at an upside to what has been a record performance in 2023. Whether you're looking at it in terms of dollar numbers or you're looking at it in terms of the Naira equivalent. And we're just compiling our third quarter. We are not able to speak to it until we've gone through the necessary procedures that will then lead to an announcement in a couple of weeks from now. But our guidance is that the remaining part of the year should see us ended the year with an operational performance that is an upside to the one we had last year. As you know, financial performance is a combination of two things: the operational, which is what is in our control, but there's also the price. And for the most part, the price, which is crude price, we are price takers. The best we can do is to make sure we continue to raise the operational performance and then allow the global forces to help us realize that into a financial performance. But it looks promising in terms of year-end projection. At the risk of saying things that are incomplete, I would like to be recused from having to make a response on the issue of my take on what's going on in the energy sector. It's so broad, and the time that we have is so short, that I run the risk of whatever I say now to be incomplete and to be improperly reported. So please allow me to pass on that question. Yeah. In terms of the outlook and implication on the deregulation of the down sector, I think there have been more than enough conversations on this. It is what we need to deal with one way or the other if we're going to incentivize investment in the downstream. And the great thing is that Aradel is also making investment in the downstream. Today, our modular refinery had been limited largely to products that are fully deregulated. Today, we are not producing PMS. And it's down to common sense. It is regulated. And so if government goes ahead to fully implement the deregulation, it gives us the enabling economic situation to then allow us to go into PMS. I think what is great is that we've positioned ourselves that either way the policies come, we are able to tweak our configuration to maximize value creation for this business. On dual listing, Mr. Chairman.
No, continue.
I should continue.
Yes. Allow my chairman.
Dual listing is a future topic. It's not a topic for now. We want to be guided by the wisdom of starting on this floor. And we've taken significant advice from our transaction advisors, and when you look at the quality of our transaction advisors, it doesn't get better than that. And we are very obedient students. We are just following the script. So if we get to that point where there is the trigger for a dual listing, if it is necessary, we will not be shy in taking that decision. But as we speak today, it is not an immediate consideration, and we're not thinking about it. What do we see of the competition? We are always in a competitive race, and I think one of the things about us is that we do not just see an external competition; we see an internal competition. And in terms of priority, our priority is the internal competition. The internal competition is to make sure that we become the best of ourselves, The internal competition is to make sure that we run a business in a way that nobody else will be able to run it. And for those of you that have been taking informed opinion about analyzing our results, I'm sure you'd have started seeing things along that line. And our commitment is that we'll continue to do. We believe if we take care of that, we are on a good pedestal to competition relative to others. But we don't see others. We just see ourselves. When the founding fathers started, they were the competition to themselves. There was no competition. They created that competition, and we remain committed to the cause of always creating the competition for ourselves. So that's the way we see competition, and that's the way it will continue to be. I think that will be all. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for those answers. Really, really appreciate the informed discussion that we've had so far. All right, ladies and gentlemen, up next, we're going to get our vote of thanks. And we already heard from him on the floor of the stock exchange. He has some great words to say. So let's hear from him again. Mr. Sam Ndata.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank the chairman of NGX for providing this platform for our visitors. And I will also thank the pioneer chairman of Aradel. Monkey said, if you want to know why his eye went inside too much, you should go and see the brother who was sick when he was blowing the fire for him. If you look at the pioneer chairman and look at the new chairman, you will see their size. The drummer man that is drawing at the wrestling arena, he said he doesn't call anybody anyhow. The drummer, he doesn't use it to call anybody anyhow. That is either you are a champion or there must be something important that you do that will make him use his drummer to call you. All that we are calling today, Aradel, there's something that made them tick. They work hard, really hard. You see, if you want to, honey is sweet, yes, but ask those who process it to become honey. You've seen gold shining. Go and find out how gold is being mined before it becomes gold. Not that you see something shining and you say, yes, some people have worked hard for it. And see that these Aradel people, all of them, they have worked hard. You see, those of us that package them to bring them here, some people think it's easy. It's not easy. Some say the goat that two people are asked to tie is always sleeping outside. Because this person will say, I thought this person has tied this goat. This person has tied it. It end up, nobody has tied that goat. The man that is dancing does not see his or her back as to say, I'm dancing well or I'm not dancing well. It is the onlookers that will say, you are dancing well. Aradel, you are dancing well. To start something is very, very hard. It's not easy. If you ask those who started this NGX, if you know them before, you will know that, yes, they suffered and did something different before you can see this place we are now. Bitakola said, that if you take the way he's sounding in the mouth, think he's sweet, you should try and chew part of it. You see our chairman, the group chairman of NGX. You see his voice even without the microphone. You can hear it from the back because he has chewed a lot of bitter cola. You see the goat you see walking on the road. He's sweating, but so many people do not see the sweat, but it's sweating. The goat is sweating, but people don't see it. All that have packaged this thing that we are watching here today have sweated to make sure this thing comes to the light. Aradel, you see, you have come today. They say next time is what people are looking at. The man that had done sacrifice to the gods, you have to wait and see if your sacrifice has been taken. If you don't wait to see if the sacrifice has been taken, you will be seeing what the gods will do, because they will tell you, after all, we did not take your sacrifice, but you left before time. The issue that come close to the floor, because he that is close to a man knows the type of perfume he wears. If you want us to give you the price you require, come close. Give us the necessary information. If you don't give us, we'll dig for information. The hearsay in the market, we'll use it to make your price. And whatever is you take it. And people say, I get them before. It's not rich, so you have been paying dividend before. We have been hearing it. Now is the time. We want to see the dividend you have been paying. You are now put under scrutiny, proper scrutiny. Animal that they have not killed before, that's the one they don't know how to butcher. But if animal have been killed before, you know how to butcher it. This animal that will listed today will know how to make your price. I will know where you will be. They say, they say long speech is not good for evening service. So I want to end my catechism now. Thank you.
All right, you knew what to expect when he spoke on the floor of the exchange. Thank you so much. I want a round of applause again for our doyen of the exchange. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've been great. That brings us to the end of today's proceedings. We're going to now take photographs. So first off, everyone at the high table will stand. The photographers will take pictures. After that, the board of Aradel will then come and stand behind them to take pictures. And after that, the board of the NGX, and then we close. So please stand high table as we take pictures. Thank you all so much. Okay, then I think in order to accommodate the board of Aradel, I think you all have to be seated again. Photographers, how's it going to work? They have to be seated so they can stand behind them, right? Yeah, so you all have to be seated again and pull your chairs.